So, let's talk about something that is quietly, but completely, rewiring the entire AI industry. It's called the Model Context Protocol, or MCP for short. It's a brand new standard that promises to solve one of the biggest, most frustrating headaches in AI development. Let's get right into it.
All right, let's start with a question that I know every single person building with AI has asked themselves, probably more than once. You've got this incredibly powerful model, right? A Claude or a GPT-4, and you've got all your stuff, your data, your code base, your APIs. So why is it so ridiculously, painfully difficult to get them to just talk to each other, you know? This isn't some small niche problem. It's the fundamental wall holding back truly smart, truly useful systems.
Well, the heart of this problem actually has a name. It's called the N by M problem. Now, it sounds all mathematical and abstract, but trust me, in practice, it's a total nightmare. N is just the number of AI models you want to use, and M is the number of tools you need to connect them to. And here's the kicker. The work to connect them all doesn't just add up, it multiplies like crazy. And this table shows you exactly how out of control it gets. I mean, look at this. Let's use a real example. One company had 5 different AI models they were using and about 20 internal tools. So to get everything working together, they had to build and maintain 5 times 20. That is 100 separate, custom-built, and super brittle integrations. Think about that. If you add just one new model to the mix, boom, you have to build 20 more connectors. It's a complete mess, and it's totally unsustainable.
And the cost of this mess? It's just staggering. That same company, they took a hard look and realized their engineering team was spending 60% of their time, 60, just building and patching up these integrations. So more than half of their brain power was being wasted on plumbing instead of actually creating cool features that customers want. This is the silent killer of innovation in AI development.
Okay, so that's the nightmare scenario. But what if there was a better way? I mean, what if instead of building 100 different fragile connectors, you could just build one for each tool, and it would just work with every model automatically? Well, that's the dream, right? A universal language for AI.
And that universal language has a name, the Model Context Protocol. It was introduced by Anthropic in late 2024, and it's a totally open standard designed to fix this integration disaster once and for all. Think of it as a single, standard way for any AI model to safely and securely talk to the outside world. To really get your head around how big of a deal this is, you have to think back to what HTTP did for the internet. Before HTTP, there was no standard way for computers to share information, and the web as we know it just couldn't exist. MHCP is aiming to be that exact same kind of foundational, world-changing protocol, but for this new age of AI. Or here's another one. Think about what SQL did for databases. Before SQL, every single database had its own unique proprietary query language. It was chaos. Then SQL came along and created a universal standard, letting developers work with any database using the exact same commands. Well, MCP is doing the exact same thing, but for connecting models to tools.
Okay, so this all sounds amazing in theory, right? A universal language? But how does it actually work under the hood? Let's take a quick, simplified look at the architecture because it's actually surprisingly simple and elegant. It all really boils down to 3 main parts. First, you've got the client. That's the AI model itself, like Claude. Then you've got the server. That's the tool or the data source you want to plug into. And then right in the middle, you have the most crucial piece, the host. Think of the host as the orchestrator or a universal translator. It's an application like your code editor, VS Code, that manages the secure conversation between the other two. So the client talks to the host talks to the server, and everybody's speaking the same language, MCP, simple.
And what's really cool is how flexible the protocol is. For tools running right on your machine, like the plugin in your code editor, it can use something called standard for a crazy fast, almost zero latency connection. But for tools that are out on a network or in the cloud, it just uses standard HTTP. This means it works perfectly for a local file on your desktop and a remote API in the cloud, all using the exact same standard.
So the tech is elegant, but here's the billion-dollar question. Is anyone actually using it? Because a standard is totally useless if nobody adopts it. Well, in the case of MCP, the adoption hasn't just been good, it's been an absolute explosion.
And we're not just talking about the folks who created it, Anthropic. No. The other giants in the room, OpenAI, Google, DeepMind, they've all jumped on board and announced support. And the tool makers too, the most popular code editors like VS Code and JetBrains, platforms like Replit, they're all integrating it. This is a rare moment of industry-wide agreement, and it's all happening at lightning speed.
And the results? They really do speak for themselves. Check this out. Here's a case study from a developer tool company. Before they used MCP, their AI code assistant was about 60% accurate, pretty okay. But after they implemented an MCP server to give the AI full live context of the codebase, that accuracy jumped to 85%. That is a massive leap in performance, all because the AI could finally see the full picture through a standard connection.
So what about the bottom line? The money? Well, another case study reported saving $1.5 million annually, just in development costs. By ripping out that tangled web of custom integrations and replacing it all with MCP, they slashed their maintenance overhead and, more importantly, freed up their engineers to actually build new things. That's the real-world return on investment of a good standard.
When you put all this together, it's pretty clear this points to a fundamental shift in how we're all going to build AI software. We are moving away from a world of complicated, custom plumbing, and we're heading towards a future of standardized, plug-and-play integrations.
I mean, the momentum here is just incredible. Just look at how fast this all happened. The official spec was only released in November of 2024. Within a single month, it was already showing up in IDEs. A few months after that, the major AI labs were all on board. And by the middle of 2025, the community had already built hundreds of open-source servers. This isn't a slow burn, it's a wildfire. And that really brings us to the most important takeaway from all of this. MCP lets developers stop wasting their time and their brain power on the plumbing, on building these endless, brittle connectors, and instead lets them focus on what actually matters, building powerful new capabilities and incredible features for all of us.
So I'll just leave you with this question to think about. In a world where any AI can instantly and securely connect to any tool or any piece of data, all those old limitations are just gone. All that's left is our imagination. So, what will we build next?